토트넘과 프랑크푸르트의 경기에서 Bt스포츠와 토크스포츠 패널들은 손흥민에 대해 어떤 반응을 보였는지 살펴봅시다. 먼저 Bt스포츠 크라우치와 제나스의 토트넘 경기력과 손흥민에 대한 평가입니다.
They did look like they had more control of the game to that in the North London derby, didn't they, Crouchy?
Yeah, much more control, much more possession than that. I think obviously it was the final ball that was the issue. But I think if you didn't watch that game and you saw the result, you'd think, they've played a similar way. They've sat back and they haven't put any impetus into the game. But they deserve better. I think it was a much improved performance, and there was definitely some plus points.
I think it was a very good performance. I think that from the possession point of view, Eintracht brought something different to the table. I don't think they pressed as high, so I think the players weren't under as much pressure as they were on Sunday when Arsenal were right on top of them and testing them under pressure. Eintracht Frankfurt were happy to kind of sit deep, and that kind of suited Tottenham in midfield to gain some control. So, the jury for me is still out in terms of whether I still are trying to lean towards the three in midfield, I think, to give them a bit more possession in Premier League games. But overall, as a performance today, I thought the front three worked their socks off, the midfield worked well. All of the components that you would expect in terms of a performance physically, work rate, tempo, aggression was great. The quality elements of what we expect from these top-level players and some world-class players was just still a little bit short. But I think maybe they've been a little bit low on confidence. It's going to come. I was much more positive after seeing that today than you were after kind of Sunday.
After the game, but I thought they played well. Look, this is a tough place to go and play. That's one of the loudest stadiums they'll play in all season, and they were higher, they pressed better, and they got in some really good moments. It's just it lacked a tiny bit of precision where normally these guys are brilliant in these areas, Crouchy.
Yeah, when you go through these chances, I mean, there's more than enough to win a game of football. It was much better. They created far more. We were talking about Son there. I just feel like, I don't know, it's just Leicester, obviously, those chances were taken. It looks like he's trying too hard to go for the top corner. He just hit the target with the power he's got. He doesn't need to be so precise. But obviously the best opportunities did fall to Son.
Why do you think he is trying too hard?
He's had a slow start to the season. There's no doubt about that. And then after the hat-trick, he still wants to prove he's the main man in the team. It's a very thin line, that whole kind of like trying too hard thing and it just coming to you naturally. I mean, from a forward's point of view, Crouchy probably can explain it better, but when you're scoring goals, you're not quite thinking about it. It's just happening. You're already in the positions. It's much more free-flowing. But I think the whole thinking about it is it's like a time thing. It's a bit like you're having to really think about that ball when you're taking the touch rather than it flowing and just being a part of your game. The work rate's there. That human son that we all know is just a tiny bit short, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think being a striker and being in that position, I think I can sort of see when someone is snatching and someone who's tense. And although he got the hat-trick at Leicester, other than that, I'd still feel he is snatching at chances and he's not quite there. Even with his final pass, we saw it at Arsenal, we saw it again tonight. It's not quite happening for him, but obviously he's a world-class player. It will happen. It's a matter of time. But at the start of this season, he's not quite there yet.
두 번째로 토크스포츠에서 흥분하는 목소리로 손흥민의 경기력 그리고 답답한 토트넘에 대해 얘기하고 있습니다. 살펴보시죠.
That's what you'd be getting.
That's a decent result tonight. We had some big chances, didn't take them.
I know.
Second in the table.
Mate, Son is a shadow, isn't he? Do you know what you can see? Because he's one of those lads you'd love to play with because his energy, he tries, he gives everything he's got. And I know he scored those 3 goals when he came off the bench the other day, but today, he'd still be out this time tomorrow, mate, and he won't score, poor thing. It's just one of those games, he ain't hitting the target. I don't think anyone hit the target. Kane was off it. I thought Royale done okay.
Yeah,
Højbjerg done well.
Yeah.
Parts of Spurs' game tonight were defensively pretty solid. Frankfurt, again, I weren't that impressed with.
마지막으로 케인과 손흥민의 호흡에 대한 질문이 있었습니다.
And actually, we saw signs of the Kane and Son partnership clicking a little bit, but it's still not clicking like it did last season, Owen.
No, but I think, look, they set incredible standards, but this isn't something we know. Little step-ups can go either side. I mean, that's a brilliant ball in. If anything, Romero probably puts Kane off. But it still feels like It needs a little bit of Kulusevski, that Son into Richarlison, that reminds me of York and Cole.
I actually thought Harry Kane played really well tonight. I thought his hold-up play was back to where
That's brilliant.
it belongs. You know, of the front three, he was the most impressive, definitely.
So when we talk about that final ball, Crouchy, take us into the perspective from your position as a striker. How do you improve on that? Is it a case of just more time on the training pitch? Is it a case of watching your games back? And
From what I see, Matt, Kulusevski's the one. It's a bit like Kevin De Bruyne. When you watch the guys that create, they just take a tiny bit of more time. Just don't rush. And I think about Kulusevski. When I watch him, he's always under control. You know, he's not rushing. It's not hectic. He gets it onto his left foot and he puts it where Crouch.
이상으로 영상 마칩니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.